Yes. Good morning, everyone. Our beloved Rhonda is here singing her beautiful heart out, and I'm so grateful. We're so blessed. Mike Bardash was supposed to be with her today, but he landed in the hospital yesterday, and he's okay. We know he's fine. We know he's healing, but you got to have our beautiful setup here. So we're glad you're here. The title this year is 2020 Vision, and for August, it is Inclusion in Action. The topic today is Together Forever, and we're so glad that Rhonda is doing the music with us today. What I want to talk about today is that at a human level, everything is temporary, the level of you and I. But at a soul level, it's forever because it's about the oneness of all life. So what we're doing now is not just about us, it's about all future generations. And I love what Tracy Brown says in the Science of Mind magazine today, that we're breaking down barriers and we're building bridges. So we are here today to celebrate life. I am Frankie Timmers. I'm the spiritual director here at Center for Spiritual Living Morristown. And we are on the web if you want to find more out about us at www.cslmorristown.org. And if you are fed by this and you want to give back, there's a place to do that. And we want you to interact with us. So if you're on Facebook, use the little round faces, ask questions, make comments, tell us where you're from, share this. Share it with as many people that you know, people that need inspiration. And also, if you have any questions or anything you want me to talk about, put it in the comments and I will definitely look at it later. So, right now, I want to do an opening treatment and then we have a surprise guest. So I invite you to close your eyes and to know that there is a glorious presence that is everywhere, in everyone, everything, all the time. It is ever giving, ever knowing, ever loving. Whether I call this God, Spirit, the absolute truth of life itself, divine love, grace, or green pickles, it does not care what it is called, but it is the allness of life that is the infinite intelligence that rises the sun in the morning and sets it at night and never confuses the two. And so we open our hearts and our minds this morning, this afternoon, this evening, depending when you're watching or where you're watching from, to this divine flow that is ever sweeping away whatever is in the way, whether we're conscious of it or not. And today we allow that. And we step forward as the authentic divine presence, unique divine presence, authentic beingness that we are, to be in service to the greater good, to be inclusional and loving all of humanity, all of creation, back to health, back to life, back to love, back to oneness. So, with awe and gratitude, then, we turn this over to the universal law. It knows exactly how to demonstrate it, and it does it perfectly. And so it is. So now I want you to meet Fernando Roman. Fernando is somebody who's on our leadership council. He's our treasurer. He's an active member at the center. He's an artist. He's the beloved husband of Kat and the father of Alex, and a huge family that loves him, that he loves. And he took a class recently with Gail Belluardo, who's a licensed practitioner here, called Self Mastery. And so he'll be sharing about that.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dr. Frankie, for allowing me this opportunity to share my experience. Before I go into that experience, I'd like to ask all of you a question. Have you ever started anything and you were in the groove and completely lost track of time? That's what it was like to be part of the self-mastery and other courses and sessions that I've attended with the center. But this one particular, there was an opportunity for us to do the deeper dive into all of the different subjects that we covered in the 8 weeks. And 6:30 we started, and before I knew it, Gail was closing with a final treatment. Uh, that's how time just went by. And and when I looked at the time and it was over, and I looked at my notes, and I had notes and homework assignment, and which included some writing and some reading, and I would come back to the next session a week later, and maybe I didn't have all of my homework done. I didn't have all the reading done, or I didn't have all the writing done, but it was okay because it was a safe space. I was given an opportunity to be guided, to learn universal, uh, timeless principles that I was able to to um, to use in my life, and we did that with with non-judgment, right? So it was a safe space for us to do that. The the one thing that we were asked to do as part of the final assignment was to do a project, and the project was an expression of your true self and your growing awareness of the presence and power within. So what I did was one of the weeks, one of the assignments during one of the classes was that we had to identify characteristics of someone we hold at a high regard, that we really look up to. And so I wrote down all of those principles and characteristics of that person. And then we were told also write down what is it about ourself that we admire and look up to, those characteristics. So I wrote those down. And what I did with all of that information is I took all of that and I owned it. It became who I am. I am, right, that. And that was my assignment. So this was the final project. So what that is it's a self-portrait, but I didn't do the drawing. My son Alex, he did the drawing. But what I did was I added who I am, right? Who I am love in action. I am I am trust, my faith. I am self mastery. I am non-judgmental. I am, right? That's who I am. Love in action. And one of the things that rung to me, that was this written on the bottom of this, which you won't be able to read. It says, "Life is a blackboard upon which we consciously or unconsciously write those messages which govern us. We hold the chalk and the eraser." And that was from The Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes, page 412. So I will erase anything that doesn't suit me and then rewrite. So that's, thank you for the opportunity to share. And we are love in action.
We are love in action. Thank you so much, Fernando. I will post a picture of that. Our beautiful Rhonda and our amazing Fernando. Thank you so much for your wisdom and your clarity and your beauty and your magnificence. So, together forever. What an idea, right? Sometimes it's only something we hear at weddings. I think you're probably all in agreement with me that we look like we are going through a collective dark night of the soul. If that's not your feeling or your sense or your awareness, I'd love to know where you are and what you're doing. I am a big fan of Joanna Macy's writings, and she recently wrote an article in Emergency Magazine, which is an online magazine, and it was called Entering the Bardo, and I'd like to read a few paragraphs from that. We are in a space with no map, with the likelihood of economic collapse and climate catastrophe looming. It feels like we are on shifting grounds where old habits and old scenarios no longer apply. In Tibetan Buddhism, such a space or gap between known worlds is called a bardo. It's frightening. It is also a place of potential transformation. As you enter the bardo, there facing you is Buddha Akshobhya. His element is water. He is holding a mirror, for his gift is mirror wisdom, reflecting everything just as it is. And the teaching of Akshobhya's mirror is this: do not look away. Do not avert your gaze. Do not turn aside. This teaching clearly calls for radical attention and total acceptance. So, this is a time that's not just about our human time, our some hundred some years of being in this world. This is soul time, where life is eternal. There is no beginning, no end, where there is no you and I as in human time, human experience. There's only I, the I that I am, our spiritual nature, our divine nature. And so, what Joanna Macy is talking about is that we are in the great turning, capital G, capital T. We're in the great turning, that we are alive here and now for a reason. We are, each of us, to be part of this great turning that is so filled with infinite potential. She talks about how this is like the agricultural revolution 10,000 years ago. This is like the industrial revolution about a few centuries ago. This is now a revolution of love that is wanting to be lived and wanting to be birthed, and it's the revolution of one life, of oneness. It's no longer about me or you. It's about we. It's knowing that the I is not the individual I, the ego I, but the soul. I am a divine being. Malcolm X says, when we change the I for the we, even illness becomes wellness. And when he said this, we still had a long way to go, as we still do. When we change the I for the we, even illness becomes wellness. Wellness for everyone, not those of us who are privileged. Everyone. Because we are the ones that are called to higher ground. So today is about knowing there's a shift taking place, that what we're seeing in the world is a mirror making us look inside ourselves. And that as we're called to higher ground, we are doing good work in the world. Many of us are doing good work in the world. Many of you are doing good work in the world. There's more to be done and more to participate. What the work that's being done now is just, I think, just the tip of the iceberg, even though it feels huge, right? And so I believe that as we do this work, more will be revealed, that it may not be revealed all at once and all now, but as we step forward into our calling and our higher ground, more of the good work will be revealed to us. I am part of a book group and a movement called Revolutionary Love. And it is based on this beautiful book, See No Stranger by Valerie Carr, a Sikh American who is doing amazing work in the world. And one of the messages of her book called See No Stranger is, which is so powerful, is that the stranger is the part of myself I haven't yet met. I don't yet know. And that's a powerful thing. So if I look at a stranger and I judge that stranger, or I see that stranger suffering, and or I worry about that stranger, but I think, ah, it's not my life, then all that I see, the mirror is being held up, is a part of myself I don't know yet, that I haven't met yet. Because in infinite potential, anything and everything is possible. You are me and I am you. And what I see in the world for anyone suffering is a part of myself. And when I see it as a part of myself I don't know yet, then I must be called to higher ground to be part of the healing. And so we're called to be courageous. We're called to really pay attention. I am spending less time on Facebook. When I do spend time on Facebook, I am just so horrified that people who consider themselves intelligent, spiritual, wise, informed are using curse names for others, you know who, or being bullies online about that, or being incredibly judgmental, instead of taking the time to say, that's just a part of me I don't know yet, in some way, shape, or degree. And I'm not speaking about anyone in specific. So if you're sitting there saying, oh, she's talking about me, huh, that's really great. You got food for thought, because it's not true. I'm not speaking about anybody. But I look at this and I see the cursing and the name calling, and I'm thinking, these are adults. How does that serve anyone or anything? That's cyberbullying, by the way, in my mind. And so we must then look at the part of ourselves that's a bully, the part of ourselves that's hateful, the part of ourselves that's unkind, the part of ourselves that thinks we're better than, the part of ourselves that has fear, because underneath all that is a lot of fear that wants to be healed, because fear creates the separation that we see in the world. When it's not dealt with, the dive in separation gets deeper and bigger and wider. And so it's simply an opportunity for healing. When we notice that feeling in ourselves, it's like, oh, something in me wants to be healed, wants to be known first, and then wants to be healed. So Ernest Holmes says, while all people have the same origin, no two are alike, except in ultimate essence. If you and I and everybody else is alike in ultimate essence, why would we not look for that, see that, celebrate that, respect that, and honor that? Wouldn't that be a much more healing process that we get to be a part of? So many of you have this little journal from the beginning of the year. And for August, today, I often change the topics, but the essence is the same. It says a quote by Bob Marley, whose a song Rhonda just sang, and it's a little bit different in the verses because his family rewrote some of them. But he said, emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. None but ourselves can free our minds. And so, as I free my mind, I have the potential to free yours in the process. As you free your mind, you have the potential to free many other minds in the process. Tracy Brown, who writes the daily readings in the Science of Mind magazine this August, and they're so beautiful already, and we're only on the second, talks about breaking down the barriers and building bridges. That's the action we are called to each do. Break down the barriers inside and outside ourselves and build bridges. I have a little story that I want to tell you. A wise teacher once brought balloons to school and told her pupils to blow them up and write their name on one. After the children tossed their balloons into the hall, the teacher moved them all around, mixing them up. And the kids were given 5 minutes to find the balloon with their name on it. But though they searched frantically, no one could find their own balloon. Then the teacher told them to take the balloon closest to them and give it to the person whose name was on it. In less than 2 minutes, everyone was holding their own balloon. The teacher said to the children, "These balloons are like happiness. We won't find it when we're only searching for our own. But if we care about someone else's happiness, it will ultimately help us find our own." Isn't that a great story? Thank you, Wendy. Found it on Facebook. Facebook is good for some things. So, the action we are called to do is to be in service to others' happiness, to meet a stranger and find common ground. If you cannot do this in person for whatever reason, do it in your imagination. Right now, think of a stranger that you hate, despise, have pain around, struggle with, and find common ground. Do they love their children? Do they love their spouse? Do they love sunshine? Do they love the fall? Find something that is common ground and then begin to speak about that if you can in person. Get curious, get compassionate, connect, hold the mirror to yourself instead of the world, and begin to heal the divide or heal the deeper divide if that's what you're already doing. And so it's a beautiful experience. It's always a beautiful experience to remember that we're here to create bridges instead of set up barriers, because that will not create a love that is revolutionary. A love that is revolutionary starts within. A shift to take place on the planet starts here with us. I love what Joanna Macy says from Buddhism. Do not look away. Do not look away. Do not avert your gaze. Do not avert your gaze. And do not turn aside. Do not turn aside. So allow the collective dark night of the soul be the inspiration to birth something new. How about we continue to birth a world that works for everyone? Let us do that. So I want you to know that we have some wonderful events happening at the center. And then I'm going to do a closing treatment. And then you're going to have some more music from Rhonda. But I'm doing a workshop called Flourishing. It's 5 weeks, and we're doing the fourth one this Wednesday. You can still join us. Just let us know you want to get the Zoom link either on Facebook, Twitter, email. Call us. Our number is 973-539-3114, or go on the website. You can still join us. This week we're doing Law 5 and 6 from Spiritual Laws to Success by Deepak Chopra. And also, we have a special event in August. We will promote this with Faith Saunders as we look at grief and how to heal grief. So look for that on our Facebook pages, on Twitter, and on the website. And if you feel so moved to give, we would love that. And you can just go to our website and find out how. So I invite you now to close with a healing treatment, and then I want to invite Rhonda back to sing for us. So, right here, right now, I know there is a power and a presence that is all giving and all knowing. As I say I speak from and to the essential nature in each and every one of us, in the essential nature of all of life. I know that I am that I am. I am the divine incarnate. I am spirit manifest as a human body called, call your own name. I am demonstrating this human incarnation called as a way to be part of something amazing, as a part of a revolution that reflects oneness, equality, justice, love, sustainability, and fairness amongst all of its creation. I have my part to do. I can trust that it is already known or that it comes to be known by means of my spiritual practices, especially deeper listening, meditation. And then I do one step each day to bring greater oneness to life, to build more bridges, and to allow healing to happen where this is not so. With awe and gratitude, then, I let go and I let God, and so it is. And as I turn this camera, I do want you to see something right there. See that? Those beautiful flowers are a wonderful gift from Jean Lee. Thank you, Jean.
Hi again, everyone. So, the topic for this week involved inclusion, and I tried something new. I wrote a new song based on the theme. Let's see how it goes. Yes. It's called When We Come Together. When we come together, things will all get better. There's more than enough for each and every one of us. Hear the cries across the nation. They're saying no more separation. No one should be left behind. Don't you think it's time? Invite a stranger to your table. For only then will we be able to find a way out of this confusion. The way forward is inclusion.
When we come together, things will all get better. There's more than enough for each and every one of us.
No matter what color or creed, we all have basic needs. A place to call our own. Peace of air and fresh air to breathe. No matter where we start, we can all do our part. It's time to find a better solution. The way forward is inclusion.
When we come together, things will all get better. There's more than enough for each each and every one of us.
Put your hands together.
When we come together, things will all get better. There's more than enough for each and every
Every single one of us.
When we come together,
Let's get it together.
things will all get better.
We'll get better and better and
There's
better.
more than
More
enough
than enough.
for each and every one of us. For every single one of us. For each and every one of us.
Have a beautiful day.